What's up, squad? It's Brandon from the Bantu Sun. I wanted to hop in real quick because there were some comments I wanted to address, and sometimes it's easier for me to just make a video than to cogently and coherently respond in the comments. I just feel though it may be unclear what I'm trying to express, so I was like, let me just go ahead and hop on a video. One of the questions was about Wagner Group. Do we know who the new head of Wagner Group is? As Wagner Group is a major influence for Russia within Africa. So that was the question and statements provided. I do not know who the new head of Wagner Group is, but I will say this. I always think of, I'm starting to come to the realization or the belief that Wagner Group is a psyop, like a psychological operation. Is you have, like, let's say you're playing a video game and you have objectives in a video game. Wagner Group is a side mission. I think they're indicative of the bigger picture, but they are not the big picture. It's extremely opaque, these guys' background. Whether it's Prigozhin or another gentleman named Ukin, whether it's based or from neo Nazis, the idolization of Richard Wagner, Hitler's famous favorite composer, uh, from the group rising up from 2014 out of nowhere in response to the Crimean annexation. And all of a sudden, they're the biggest mercenary group, at least in the headlines, operating across Africa and carrying on the major battles in Ukraine. Let's not forget they did take Bakhmut, and then not even being legal technically because according to Russian law, PMCs are not legal in Russia. So they weren't in theory incorporated in Russia, but made up of Russians. And then on top of that, turning on Putin's regime and threatening to march through Moscow after invading Rostov on the Don. So it's so much complexity. Like, and that's just the broad summary. So much complexity and color going on with these guys. I can come to just the same summary of saying, what if from the get go, the Wagner Group was propped up by outside forces as a way to get close to Putin's regime, gain their sympathy, and turn on a Russian state. And there are actually a revolutionary force sit in a place to get Russian weapons, to learn about the Russian institutions in hopes of overturning Putin's regime. Maybe, for all you know, the Wagner Group were set up by Putin's enemy, with the end goal always being for regime change in Russia. So to me, I can't prove or disprove either theory. All I know is what I'm being told about Wagner Group is not on the up and up. I'm looking at articles that I read years ago talking about Wagner Group and articles I'm reading now after the passing of Prigozhin. And they're like night and day. What they're saying about the Wagner Group, who they are, it's it's just a lot of darkness around that group in general, especially who's funding these guys, how they're getting their weaponry, their full expanse. None of that has been thoroughly revealed. As far as Russian influence in Africa, that's a symptom more than a disease. Africa, to this point, there has not been a strong enough African power. As close you can say is South Africa, maybe mid late 90s South Africa, early 2000s. But the competition is rising as other power centers are starting to come up throughout Africa, Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, etc. But South Africa has been the most economically advanced, has done the most work to integrate regionally as well. They're a major trading partner with a lot of their neighboring countries, which many countries in Africa can't say. So, that being the case, it's still a scramble for Africa because Africa has not dominated their market at home. And what I would say like that is, can you imagine Argentinian businessmen going into China and taking over their economy? And the answer would be no. It's kind of profound. They don't speak the language, understand the culture. The Chinese have such control over their commercial enterprise that it would be hard for outsiders to break in their market. And I think the same thing because Africa doesn't have a strong enough grasp because there's so many foreign companies there that's developing their products, their minerals, and adding their value add to their services. You have all these foreign powers trying to compete, Russia being one of them. So there's a lot of companies from the outside trying to work in Africa right now, whether that's from the Middle Eastern, the oil states on the Arabian Peninsula, whether that's Turkey, Russia being a major one. Russia's just trying to take the chips that are still available on the board because the U.S. has got Western Europe and the Far East, South Korea, and Japan in a pretty close engagement. So it's yet to be seen, but I think Russia has bigger problems. I don't think their influence of Africa is into any degree greater than it was 50, 60 years ago. Uh, but that's to be proven. So thanks for the comment. I hope this answers some things. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Always feel free to comment below. Until next time, take care. Bantu up.